You're watching the She CEO podcast with Dr. Julie Ducharme, talking with female CEOs from all over the globe.
Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Ducharme, and welcome to the She CEO podcast. So excited to be back here for another season, interviewing women around the world in every industry you can think of about their journey as CEOs. Before I get started today, I want to mention a few reminders that are coming up. We have some great events that are coming up over the spring here. Our first one coming up is in Australia on February 26th. We will be in Sydney for our first She Talks event there. We are so excited. We launched She Talks in Australia about a year ago. And so we'll be having a really great event there. There is still time to get tickets to that. So if you're in Australia and you're wanting to check that out, you can go to leadandempowerher.com, click on the events tab, and that will give you a drop down of all the events happening around the world. The other event we have coming up is on March 7th. That is our Women's International Day celebration. We've been doing this for 8 years now, and our third year in Coronado. Beautiful island, right off of sunny San Diego. And we have another powerhouse group of speakers. Very excited about one of our panels. It is an international panel with women from around the world, from Croatia, France, Mexico, Thailand, the list goes on and on. And so I'm really excited to have that representation of women from around the globe. We still have tickets available for this one as well. And if you put in "We Love She Talks" as the code, you will get $30 off. So those are two events coming up very shortly in the next month. Also, we want to give a shout out to some of our new sponsors who have just come in. I'm really excited to have Gabriela Cabande in. She is a purse designer located here in San Diego, creating custom, gorgeous purses. She's going to be at our event and is also one of our sponsors. So we are super excited to have her and those couture purses. Our next sponsor that just came in is Monica Walls with Keka Usana. And very excited. This is a lipstick brand. And, we're all about supporting small women in business. So she's not only going to be at our event March 7th, she's going to be on a panel. She's also donating gorgeous lipstick for us. So I'm so excited to wear it and test it out. So really excited about that. Also, our third sponsor is Chrysaline Jones. She is one of our She Talks members and also an amazing photographer who's going to be coming to our March 7th event, doing headshots for women at no cost, which is amazing. And she does some phenomenal work. She's also going to be at our Ireland event, and you'll see her popping up around the world at many events, providing her expertise. She believes in empowering women through photography, and we're so excited to have her. So thank you to all the sponsors who are jumping in and sponsoring She Talks, the She CEO, and many other things that are happening with our events around the world. So now I'm really excited to get to our guest today, Cory Fisk. Cory and I met a couple years ago, and we really bonded over both of us being professors for college and so many other things going on. So I'm really excited to have her on the show. And to tell you a little bit about Cory, she has decades of construction management experience as her role as a founder and lead instructor at Construction Management Online, with a background spanning in residential, commercial, and industrial projects. She has developed a comprehensive understanding of the construction industry's complexities and challenges. She is also a sought-after speaker and has been a speaker for She Talks as well. She's a She Talks member. And Cory has presented at industry conferences nationwide, sharing insights on construction, management, and best practices and innovation. I'm really excited that we're going to be welcoming her as a director of She Talks Trades and Education for She Talks. And a lot of other amazing things are going to be happening with Cory. So Cory, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I feel good after listening to that bio. It makes me feel amazing.
Well, you are, so you should be, and you're in an industry that I feel is, I don't know what the percentage is of women in your industry, but I know it's small. And I love that you're owning the space, and I'm so excited that you're going to be part of helping us with the She Talks and the trade side, because this is another important part for women we're not reaching yet. And so, we came to this conversation really when we had someone actually reach out to us in the construction industry. And I was like, Cory, I don't know. I don't know. And then that's how, I thought, well, why do we not have more of this? So I'm really excited we're talking today because, and I don't know if you know this, when my father was a trades instructor, as in the worlds of mechanics and cars. And he always said to me that he felt that this was one of the most powerful industries because these are the industries that make everything happen, right? And so I think this is now more than ever so important because we have more women getting opportunities to get into these areas. And so I think your voice is really powerful with what you're doing. And I know you work with both men and women, but I do know that you have a passion to inspire, I think, our younger generation to really get into this. So I'm so excited about this. So I want to start with just your story. How did you end up getting into this? Because I think if I remember our conversations, you have a bit of a unique kind of way that you ended up into this industry.
Yes, well, it certainly wasn't planned, which is how most of us end up where we are today. But it's kind of funny because we usually follow familiarity. And as you said, your dad was a teacher, and as such, you became a teacher.
Mhm.
My dad was in construction, and my mom was a teacher. So I became a construction teacher. I didn't start off that way. My dad, who had never graduated from college, made it and imprinted it very early on in my mind that I was going to UC Davis to be a veterinarian. And it made sense. My love of animals and especially horses. I competed in rodeo the entire time that I grew up. And so I really followed that passion, understanding there
Mm,
was no choice but college after I graduated from high school. But when I also graduated from high school, now I was on my own,
mm,
independently having to make money. And all of my friends were making minimum wage at $6 an hour. And it just wasn't good enough for me. And so I talked to my dad and I got on as a flag girl working on a construction project. And I was making like $19 an hour. So
that's
I
nice.
mean, I was scoring it compared to all of my friends. And so what I learned is that it made for really nice summer work in my
Mhm,
preparation of continuing college. I didn't go to
mm,
UC Davis, but I went to Texas A&M University.
mm,
My degree was in animal science, and I used construction as the platform to pay for my schooling for the year.
mm,
When I graduated from Texas A&M, though, my student loans were more than what I was going to be making on an average annual salary, and so I thought, "Well, if I go back and work construction for 2 years, I can pay off all of my student loans and I can go into
mm,
agriculture and enjoy the career that I think that I'm going to love."
mm.
And I fell in love with construction. And so I worked as a laborer for 2 years. The senior construction manager was a graduate alumni of Texas A&M University, and he heard that I was working as a laborer with a degree out on the job site, and he didn't care what my degree was in. He brought me in and mentored me, and I became a field engineer, and I learned the opportunity of management in construction.
Mm,
And I would say that I know we talk a lot about
mm,
male dominated industries, or what I like to say is male majority
mhm,
industries, just because there just happens to be more men in it. Um, what we really don't recognize is that the entire world was created this way. So
mhm,
women are always trying to break the doors in just about any male majority industry. And to do that, we really need men. And I had powerful male mentors in
mhm,
my life who believed in me and who really wanted to support me. And I feel really, really blessed in that
mm.
sense.
Yeah, I do too, and we talk a lot about this. I talk a lot about this, and she talks is that we need our male counterparts. I didn't have any women mentors. I mean, with the exception of obviously like family members or things like that. But when I was in the industry, it was really my male counterparts who were the cheerleaders for me
Mhm.
and, respected me and helped me. And even to this day, I have some male mentors that are powerful mentors as well. And I think that, as women, we need to recognize where we're at in that industry, right? If there isn't another woman, and you and I have had this conversation that women in a variety of industries has been very vicious and very difficult to deal with. I mean, that's just fact of the matter. I would naturally pull towards my male counterparts who really wanted to help me. And I would actually pull away from the women because they were so vicious. I'd just be like, God, I don't even want to deal with that woman. Like, she's a pill, you know? And so it's so important that you mention that, because how powerful is it that that's the guy who got you into construction, right? And
Mhm,
that we have an ability to partner with them, because I always say it's not about whether one leadership style is better than the other. Both perspectives and both styles are needed, because it will address a situation at a certain time that maybe one style doesn't. And so, I'm very respectful of that. And of course, I've always mentioned my husband is a huge part of my success. He's been behind the scenes doing that. My father was a huge part of my success as well. And several of, especially in the world of academia, as you know, I mean, I used to sit in a circle with a bunch of guys who would drink scotch and smoke cigars before class. Like, I mean, this was my group of people I had to hang with. There were no women having like a get together or anything like that. And I didn't drink scotch or smoke, but I just was like, well, I need to sit here and be part of this because this is the group. So I love that, because I think sometimes the perception is, Corey, that men are all pigs in certain industries, right? You look at how they're portrayed on TV shows, right?
mhm.
And especially construction. And so a lot of times that perception follows over into that. And I love that you're saying, no, no, no. Like, I'm sure you've experienced some negative things, as I have. But at the same time, I've also had a lot of great experiences. And I think that's important for women looking to work in, what did you call it? It wasn't male dominated, but
Male majority.
male
And,
majority.
yeah,
I
obviously,
like that.
because women truly do dominate. I mean, this is our wheelhouse. We just don't get the pat on the back that the men always get. We're the ones that do everything else. I always say that men are responsible for protection, production, and procreation, and it
Oh my
just
gosh,
is so
that's good.
simple.
You need
But
to copyright that right now. Copymark and trademark that, quick.
Well, it's just really important that they are because especially in construction, we needed their brute strength and we needed their linear thinking in order to be
Mhm,
able to accomplish really tight budgets and deadlines. But
mhm,
now that we're running into a modern construction that's able to diversify with the innovation of softwares and really spread out the requirements of skill sets necessary to be successful, this is where women are going to be able to be extremely valuable in the
mhm.
construction industry. But I just want
Yeah.
to go back for a second to something that you said, because obviously there are women that are
Mhm,
difficult to work with
mhm,
women. And sometimes in the construction industry, a lot of that is just jealousy and the same kind of
mhm,
things that we dealt with when we were in high school. But we're also going to run up against some of those men that are
mhm,
holding the majority of the character that is being shown for the construction industry. And I
mhm,
think that this is the biggest mistake that we can make as women of allowing a picture that someone else has created in order to stop us from being able to achieve what we need to achieve. And you're going to run up against some of those people, but they're
mhm,
far and few between. There's
mhm,
a lot of really great people in the construction industry,
mhm,
and you have to have enough thick skin and
mhm,
resilience to be able to push by those people. And the thing is that that's not just in construction. That's
mhm.
in life, that's in everything that we do. So if we learn how to deal with it now and be able to get through those hard spots and really focus on ourselves and what we should be doing, then that's when we're able to elevate to that next level.
Yeah, and it's so important. I mean, the thick skin, right? Like, someone the other day asked me, they said, "How do you feel when someone says no to you?" And I'm like, it doesn't really phase me. And they were really they're like, "Could you answer the question?" I'm like, "I am answering the question. It really doesn't phase me. I just kind of move on by it, right?"
Yeah.
And that's, like, how I think, and it's the same thing as you mentioned with whether, like you said, men or women, don't let that one bad experience ruin it for you. Like, it's part and parcel of just people in general, right? Whether they're in your business or they're in your life, they're in your friend circle, right? There's gonna be someone who's gonna do their best to shut you down. I mean, we've experienced it since high school, mean girls in high school was my issue. got into college, and college was a lot of fun, but then there were jealous friends, right? And you're getting into the work industry and you're thinking, oh, this is a great person I'm working with. And turns out they're not, I mean, it's just part and parcel of people. I was telling my daughter this the other day, like, you just have to get used to that. Sometimes you have to deal with people you don't like. And
Yeah.
it's it's sometimes you're going to go to work and there's going to be a person there that you're not a fan of. It's just part of life. But I like that because I think that we have to understand that and move forward, and not to diss on this younger generation, because my children are in this younger generation, but I don't see the grit and the thick skin as much in the younger generation as I do with us. And I think that's something that we need to teach, that our younger generations coming, is like, you can't just be offended at everything. I mean, I feel like I get offended
Well,
all the time, but I'm
yeah,
like,
this is an excellent point because I hear people complain about the younger generation not having a thicker skin
mm,
while they are complaining about the verbiage of thicker skin and
mm,
while they have raised these same children. And
yeah,
so we have to recognize that we've raised what we're getting right now. And now training thick skin doesn't mean that we're taking empathy out of them. It doesn't mean that we're creating this steel box of unemotional
mhm,
children. It means that we're helping them understand that when you look at a person, you have to recognize that that person is going to be out for themselves before they are you. And that's not a bad thing because we have to be able to be strong in ourselves and believe in ourselves and be able
mhm,
to be something that someone else can lean on before we can support others.
mhm,
The difference is when the actions that are taking try to hurt someone else or
mhm,
bring that person down in order to raise someone else up. We should
mhm,
all be trying to put a hand down and pull everyone up to where we are at instead of trying to level the
mhm.
playing field.
Yeah, and I love that you said it's okay to be looking out for yourself. I
Mhm.
mean, that's so important because, as you said, I mean, we push a lot of times servant leadership, and it's incredibly important, and it's part of my leadership skill. But sometimes we have to go, no, I need to take that opportunity for me.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna build myself, and it's such a good point that you said that if we can't build ourselves first, we can't be leaders for others, and that's a perfect differentiation of saying, "Listen, as long as they're not hurting someone else, there's nothing wrong with them going out to support themselves." And in particular, I see a lot of times women are guilty of this. It's like, "Well, no, no, I'll just pass that up. I'll give that on to that other person." And my being a competitive athlete, I'm like, "Why? Why would you do that?" And people are like, "Oh, Julie, that's selfish." And I'm like, it's not selfish to want to move along in your career or move to the top. And
Yeah.
like you said, as long as you're just not taking out people or doing something that's negative or destructive, because I don't think that's right. I don't think leaders do that, you know. But is it wrong to take an opportunity that you compete against someone else for a really great opportunity and you get it? Like, no, and I love that perspective because I don't think we have enough women saying that in the
Well,
world that we're in.
yeah, the way that I look at it is if you're scared to support someone else because you think they're going to outperform you, then you're not performing at your highest
Mm,
level. And so if you're scared of that, instead of being able to support it and bring things up as a group
mhm.
so that there's your own community of people who are finding success in that
Mhm,
particular area, then you're always going to be doing everything alone. And,
mhm.
I am an introvert. I prefer doing a lot of things alone, but every once in a while, it's so nice to have the voice of another woman who's encouraging you and supporting
Mm,
you instead of always feeling like we're competing against each other.
yeah, because it gets exhausting. I mean, being an athlete, I love good competition on a court, right? I
Mm,
love it. I love competition when it's the place for it.
yeah.
But when I'm out of that, I don't always want to be competing. I remember long, long time ago, I had a boyfriend who just always wanted to compete about everything. And I was like, this is exhausting. Like, I don't want to have to compete with you over everything just because I'm an athlete. And I love what you're saying there too. I mean, it was like a mic drop moment when you're like, if you're worried about someone else taking your spot, then you're not performing.
Mhm.
That's powerful, right? Because we can recognize our weaknesses in anything we do, right? We can say, listen, I'm great at this, but I'm not good at this. But
Mhm.
you can get better. Because being an athlete, I'm gonna use a sports analogy here. But Michael Jordan, right? I will fight with anyone to this day about him being one of the best basketball players of all time. But when he was, dunking basketballs, people say, well, that's all he's got for his game. So then he started mastering becoming a three-point shooter, right? Which was unheard of for someone who plays underneath the basket. I mean, I can't remember how tall he was, but he was exceptionally tall, right? And he was known for defying gravity. So then he started shooting three-pointers. And before you know it, he was making all these three-pointers. And they're like, well, that's so you can dunk and you can do three-pointers. Well, they would lose without you. So then that next game, he had something like 45 assists. He passed the ball up to everyone and they still won. And what I love about that lesson was that he could have said, yeah, I'm just an underneath the basket guy and that is what it is. But instead of getting intimidated that he couldn't do those others, he decided he would go and master the other aspects of that game, right? So he could perform at his best. And when it was questioned on whether his team could perform without him, he then used great leadership and passed that ball to all the other people on that team. And so, I think is why we see greatness from Michael Jordan is he was able to recognize where he was strong, where he wasn't, and how he could become better. Just like you said, if you're worried about someone else, like then you're not performing how you are. And I think that's such a powerful lesson in every industry, right? I mean, every industry that we're walking into, I look at this, I think to myself, when I come into something, I'm going to make myself a commodity that people can't live without. So
Mhm.
then when they think about cutting, they're going to go, well, we can't cut Julie. We can cut that other person, but we can't Julie. And that has always been my motto. And anywhere I went, which is why I think I excelled so much, is because, and a great example is I became a chair over 3 departments. We were having an issue with the bathroom that day. Everyone kept saying, "Oh, the bathroom, that there's something wrong with the toilet. The toilets aren't working." We couldn't get maintenance there. I went to the maintenance closet, grabbed a plunger, and started plunging some toilets. And people were like, "What are you doing? You're the chair." And I'm like, "I'm also the leader on campus, and we clearly need to get these toilets fixed, right?"
Yeah.
And so it was this moment where people were like, "Julie is not too high and mighty to go plunge a toilet to make sure people can use the toilets at the school, right?" So I just look at this as such great conversation, and I love too that it's coming from you and your industry, right? Because I think sometimes people think, oh, trades is over here and it's so different than, CEOs of this business company. But what you're saying and what I'm saying from both those industries are just coming parallel next to each other. And I love that. So let's transition into talking a bit about your construction online management programs you're designing, because I feel that this is really important. And I really got turned on to the trades, Corey, when I was actually working with a group called Anderson Plumbing. It's run by Mary Jean. Well, I think she actually retired now. But the plumbing company was all pink. It had her photo on it. She was this gorgeous blonde. Every truck had her photo on it. And it was like a $30 million a year company. And I met with her about something and I come into her, place. Everything's pink. The guys are wearing pink shirts. And I'm just kind of like going like, am I in the right place? Like what is going on? So she sits down and starts to tell me her story of how she took over this company after the divorce and she transformed it. I mean, it's brilliant what she does. But that was the moment that I got turned on to trades and went, hold up here. Like women can be involved in trades and run a plumbing company and make all the guys wear pink. Like it just kind of caught me. And so anyway, she showed up to many She Talks events and was a big supporter of us. And that's where I really started to remember what my father told me about the power of the trades. So
Mhm.
you've been working on this program for a while. So I'd love for you to talk about it because this program is also in our 10,000 Women Rising program. So we are encouraging women who are interested in getting into the trades to come and get educated in these types of programs. So I'd love to discuss this a little bit because this is a great teaser for the women who are going, I've been thinking about it, but is there a place for me in construction management?
Well, this is definitely an opportunity to be able to play in that area and discover whether or not it's ready for you. We look at the opportunities that we have in construction for women, and we focus on the financial aspect. It provides an independent opportunity for women to be able to have salaries that can financially support a lot of what they want to be able to do. It provides an opportunity for us to be able to establish skill sets that are able to not just work in the construction industry, but again, defining independence and not having to depend on that guy to come and fix your sink, even though sometimes maybe that's a good excuse to have a guy come to the house. But trades really is that opportunity for us to be able to create an independence, separate from what any other
Mhm,
industries are doing. But what I love most about the construction industry is that whatever we've learned to this point in time in our life, whether it be scheduling, management, budgeting, scheduling a time, even if we're just making a doctor's appointment or scheduling a play day, our communication, going to the teachers' conferences, then going and talking to the moms at coffee, and then going to the PTA.
mm,
These are skills that in that moment don't really seem like they're being developed. But when we transition them over into the construction industry, we find that women, with our organization, our management, our diversity, our flexibility, and our
mm,
ability to be able to adapt, are all key skill sets necessary in the construction industry.
mm,
So I'll explain for a moment. There's so many different pathways in the construction industry. So when we talk about trades, we're really talking about those women who are wanting to physically get involved in the aspect of building something, whether it be plumbing, electrical, mechanical, framing, concrete, any of those different types of trades are going to be in that specific pathway. And that's an excellent place for anyone to start because we don't really need any formal schooling for that. It's good to go to an apprenticeship program or an internship program where they can show you the technical concepts of how to be able to produce things with the
mm,
equipment and material that's necessary for each individual discipline. But that hands-on work is also prepping you to be able to elevate and promote within the industry that soon can find you
mm,
in a field engineer position, an estimator, scheduler, construction manager, or project manager. And so it just makes the field wide open. And it means that a lot of times people change their career 3 or 4
mm,
times during their lifetime,
mm,
and every time you change your career, you're having to change the volume of the foundational knowledge that you're working with. But in
mhm,
construction, we can change our career multiple times and still have a hold of the
mm.
foundational knowledge necessary for us to be able to elevate our careers.
Mm, that's powerful. And I love that because, you and I have both had tons of schooling. We've been in academia for a long time. So we've done the whole traditional, pardon me, schooling. But I like the idea and I become more and more open to this that, traditional school is not for everyone.
Mhm.
And we need to see that because, we can create more opportunities for success for, not everyone, for everyone, but also specifically women who may not find that's not their space. Traditional school isn't their space. And I know for my kids, my daughter's been doing dual enrollment because she wants to get her gen ed out of the way. And a really big question is why am I taking these classes again, mom? I've been taking English for 4 years. I've been taking math for 4 years. Like, why do I have to retake them in college? And I was like, good question. Why do we spend 2 years retaking everything we just learned in high school? Because she just wants to get to the good stuff. She wants to get to her program. And we were talking about the difference between the technical and vocational versus the schooling is that you really do kind of dive right into those apprenticeships. So I love what you're doing. This is so powerful. And for those of you who are listening, you're thinking, I'm shifting industries. I need a new industry. I'm looking to do something new. I think something so powerful that comes from you is that like when we're having this conversation, everything you're saying to me, I'm like, wow, this could be applied in any industry, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes people I think
Absolutely.
get very industry focused and they think, oh, well, you work in that industry, you don't know. Yeah, just because you may not be in a boardroom doesn't mean that you're not fighting and dealing with the same issues of someone. And so, part of the 10,000 Women Rising is we want to educate women. We want to up level them. We want to get them out of the poverty level. We want to get them financially healthy and wealthy. And we want them to find that through non-traditional avenues, because yes, we can do school all day long, but it's not going to get you a job. That's not going to get you where you want to be necessarily. Now, yes, engineers, doctors, all that, absolutely so important. You need that. But let's open the door for other women. So I think that's so important. So we're coming to the end of the podcast, and I love that you shared this. Obviously, those of you who may be driving right now, you're shopping, you're listening. I've had people like message me from the meat department, so they'll be sending me messages like, "I'm listening to you right now. I'm in the meat aisle, and I want to know this." So if you are not in front watching this, you're listening. We will have all the links so you can get to Cory, you can get to her construction management program, all of that. Of course, you guys all know you can message me and I'll connect you with Cory as well. Or you can also go to Lead and Empower Her She Talks.com. On the homepage, there's the 10,000 Women Rising program link. You click there. It will let you view all the programs. Cory's programs are listed there. And so we'll have all the connects. So don't worry about that. But if you had any final advice that you would like to give to women who are looking, whether it's to get into your industry or even any industry, what advice might that be?
It really is a mindset perspective, of being able to understand there's always physical things that we're going to have to be able to perform at some point in time to be able to do the work, but the mindset is key. And understanding first and foremost where it is that you want to be in your life so that you can structure and streamline the alignment of steps that you need to take in order to be able to put in place the experiences necessary for you to gain the knowledge to be able to build up into that master plan or that final end deliverable. And so understanding how important mindset is not just because, we're trying to change the way we think. It's because we have to prepare ourselves for this industry that has been built and created by men for men, that now women are breaking down the doors and really needing to redesign it in a way that means that we're going to hit up against resistance. We're going to hit up against people not wanting to change. And so we have to educate them through that. And that can only be done through patience and through an understanding that they just don't know, instead of, well, they're purposely doing this to me, or they're purposely trying to keep me out of the industry. They just don't know.
Mhm.
And so we have to be educators as we are also being students and mentors in order to be able to create opportunities for ourselves in this powerful but amazing construction industry.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. Well, once again, you guys can find us obviously through leadandempowershetalks.com. We'll also be posting Cory's link constructionmanagementonline.com too. And of course, like I said, message us on any platform. We'll get you connected to Cory. I hope you will check out her stuff. It's so powerful. Thank you so much for being on the show, Cory. I love our conversation. And of course, we have so much more we're doing together. So I'm excited about that with She Talks and with Synergy Learning Institute. So you guys will have to keep an eye out for that. So as I always say, live, love, laugh, and always be your authentic self.
Thanks for watching the She CEO podcast. Don't forget to smash that bell icon and don't forget to like and subscribe.